Sixers fans, how we feeling out there? Hey y'all, my name is Lauren Gordon. Some of you may already know me on social media as Lauren Fan of the Year. Others may have just stumbled upon this podcast, but either way, I want to first thank all of you for tuning in to episode 17 of my very first podcast. I'm just a Sixers fan, the Lauren Fan of the Year story. Now let's continue the story. Y'all, we had just completed the 2018-2019 regular season with a winning record of 51-31. We clinched the third seed thanks to a Boston Celtics loss, and our first round opponent was the Brooklyn Nets with D'Angelo Russell, Spencer Dinwiddie, Joe Harris, Karis LeVert, Jared Allen, and Jared Dudley. I think I forgot to mention D'Angelo Russell at the end of my last episode. But anyway, we lost game one, 111-102. Jimmy had 36 points. Embiid had 22 points. D'Angelo Russell had 26 points to lead the Nets to the game one victory. Ben Simmons had 9 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 assists. I was irritated with Ben because he would pass the ball when he was wide open. It was so frustrating. And I posted on social media, Ben, take the effing shot. I would also make a post, Jimmy has back pain, referring to Jimmy Butler, because he knows he has to carry this team. I was furious about the loss because I felt like the players didn't take the game serious. In fact, do y'all remember at this time, during the live game, Amir Johnson was sitting next to Joel Embiid on the bench during the live game, and he was scrolling through his cell phone? I believe it was Doris Burke. I could be wrong, but I believe it was her, who was one of the play-by-play announcers at the time, who was commenting on the lack of team focus because we were losing. And then the camera pans over to Amir and Embiid looking at his cell phone. It was so embarrassing. And after the loss, I commented, this is part of the problem. There is no damn discipline on this team. Brett Brown needs to step up and hold these players accountable. Yes, y'all, I booed during that game, and I was unapologetic. For the record, y'all, I don't really boo the players. I boo the situation. So, y'all, it wasn't necessarily directed at Ben Simmons, but at the lack of preparation and effort of the entire team. It starts with the coaching. And I noted, Brett Brown has got to light a fire under this team. It's like the team has lost confidence in him. Ben was basically being called out before the game by the players on the Nets, saying that they weren't even going to guard him because he was a non-factor. Jared Dudley said publicly that Ben was just average in the half court. Y'all remember that? I thought that alone would have fired Ben up. After scoring only 2 points against Boston in last year's playoff series, I thought Ben would come out more aggressive. Embiid got his points on the board, but he still looked gassed and out of shape going into the playoffs. He should have been locked into the game, not checking Amir's cell phone, especially with us losing on the home court. Also, I could not understand why we were relying so much on the three-point shot. I was like, get in the paint and draw the foul. It just seemed so basic. And I remember thinking, where the hell is Tobias? He looks lost out there, like he didn't know his role. And JJ Redick, oh my God. Y'all, when JJ is on, he's fire. And when he's not, it's painful. And it was later reported that Amir Johnson was checking his phone and showing it to Embiid because his daughter was sick. But my thoughts were, Amir, if your daughter is sick, stay the hell home. You have halftime to check messages or just go to the locker room. This is the playoffs. Jeez. And the only player who came mentally and physically ready to play was my guy, Jimmy Butler. I'll never give up on my guys, but I have to admit, I was very disappointed in this team. Prior to Game 2, I let it be known, I don't give a damn about the backlash. I need Jimmy Butler to get in the players' faces and rally this team. They're not responding to Brett, and Ben and Joel Embiid are just too immature. Jimmy is the real leader. I think this may have also been around the time when Brett Brown was saying that Jimmy Butler was James Butler and was the adult in the room. Jimmy corrected him quick by telling him that his name was Jimmy and not James. And I remember thinking, Brett, why don't you be the daggone adult in the room as the coach and just hold this team accountable? But y'all, my guys must have been listening, because we won Game 2, 145-123, tying the series 1-1. Ben must have let that win go to his head, because he came out and told the fans, if you go on that side, stay on that side. I guess to say, don't be booing us and then jump back on the bandwagon once we get a win. But y'all, someone must have gotten in his ear, because he quickly changed his tune. And I was glad, because the last thing that Ben Simmons needed was the fans turning on him. Embiid was out Game 3, but Ben led us to a Game 3 victory with 31 points, 9 assists. Tobias Harris had 29 points, 16 rebounds. 15 of those were defensive rebounds. And JJ Redick had 26 points. I thought, well, damn, we need to piss Ben off more often. And I admitted that I was wrong about my theory that Ben Simmons never had a big game in a big game. He most definitely stepped up in Game 3. On April 20th, I hosted a private Sixers playoffs watch party for my family and friends at Buffalo Wild Wings. Y'all, this was the game where Jared Dudley thought Embiid had a hard foul on Jared Allen, so he came after Embiid. But Ben came to his rescue, and him and Dudley would end up in the stands. Embiid walked away from the situation with his hands up, but Ben and Jimmy wanted all the smoke. We won Game 4, giving us a 3-1 lead in the series. And at the end of the game, Embiid called Jared Dudley a nobody and basically said that he was way too valuable for our team to take the bait and Dudley's foolishness. And he was right. Because, y'all, we won Game 5 to end the series 4-1 and advance to the second round of the playoffs. During this time, 3 of my guys had the top 10 selling jerseys in the NBA. The number 1 selling jersey at the time, no surprise, LeBron James. Number 2, Steph Curry. Number 3 was Giannis. Number 4 was Kyrie Irving. Number 5 was our Joel Embiid. Number 6 was James Harden. Number 7 was Russell Westbrook. Number 8 was Kevin Durant. Number 9 was our Ben Simmons. And number 10 was Jimmy Butler. And you better believe I had all of their jerseys. I'm referring to our Sixers. I had Embiid jerseys, I had Ben Simmons jerseys, and I had Jimmy Butler jerseys. Thank you, Fanatics. For the second round, we faced the Toronto Raptors. On April 27th, I hosted another watch party at Buffalo Wild Wings, but we lost Game 1. I wasn't stressed because I thought, you know what? Toronto did what they were supposed to do. They won at home. I thought we just needed to make some adjustments and we'll be fine. I was calling Sixers in 6. Even though we lost, I wasn't disappointed in how we played. Toronto, at the end of the day, y'all, was a good team led by Kawhi Leonard. We couldn't deny that. Also, the pressure was on Toronto not to lose more than it was for us to win. And for that game, only Kawhi and Siakam were in double-digit scoring. We just needed to find another way to shut them down offensively. And I missed Mike Scott's presence on the floor. He had the toughness that we needed, but I believe he was hurt at that time. And I felt like we needed consistency from JJ hitting the open three. The turnovers didn't help. We needed to better protect the ball and make some adjustments on offense because their defense was tight. And I knew it was a 7-game series, so it was too early to panic. It was just that I love my guys so much, and I just wanted them to do and be well. That was all. Here are a few of my notes from that game. Brett Brown needs to get his rotations together. We got to switch and put Ben on Kawhi because Jimmy couldn't guard him. We needed to tighten up on the turnovers, and Joel needed to stay on the block and eat. The Raptors center at the time was Marc Gasol, but I still felt Embiid was unstoppable when down low. JJ provided spacing, but it was also important for JJ to hit his shot right out the gate. And I thought if we stuck to the script, it would be close, but we could win this series in 6, possibly 7 games. On April 29th, I journaled, "Tonight's game will make us or break us. I'm not sure how we stop Kawhi." And then, y'all, it was reported that Joel Embiid was sick. We had no bench. We struggled on defense. And I wasn't even sure if giving our all would be enough. I was preparing for the worst, but I was hoping for the best. I just didn't want my guys to get discouraged and give up. I just wanted them to take it one game at a time and fight hard until the final buzzer. Jimmy scored 30 points to lead us to a Game 2 victory, and now the series was tied 1-1. Game 3 was in Philadelphia, and we won 116-95 and led the series 2-1. Embiid had 33 points, 10 rebounds, and I was feeling good about my guys and our chances of beating this competitive Toronto Raptors team. As Sixers fans, we were all excited. At work during this time, I was the manager of our administration team. It was a new team built from external hires, and my role was to onboard and provide basic training. It was a great team from diverse backgrounds, and even though I was the leader, it was important for me to create an inclusive and collaborative environment. And I would tell my team every day how much I appreciated them. Well, on May 3rd, they surprised me and wanted to show me how much they appreciated me by throwing me a surprise appreciation party. Y'all, the theme for my surprise appreciation party was Sixers, of course. I remember being called to the training room, and when I walked in the door, the Sixers theme song was playing. Y'all, that is my hype music. Clap your hands, everybody, for Philadelphia 76ers. Stomp your feet, everybody, for Philadelphia 76ers. Here they come. And I remember seeing my team all wearing Sixers gear, and they had Sixers cupcakes, and they made these Sixers customized snacks with my face on it. And y'all, it wasn't my birthday or anything special, just a regular day. It felt so good to be loved and respected and appreciated by my team. I will never forget that day, and I will never forget my team. Y'all, Game 4 was home, and Embiid was coming out saying he needed an IV and wasn't feeling well. And I'm thinking, oh snap, here we go. But y'all, he did play. He only took 4 shots in the first 32 minutes and missed 3 straight free throws in the fourth quarter and ended up with 11 points. It was a close game, and I thought we could have actually pulled that game out, but Kawhi Leonard hit a clutch three-pointer with a little over a minute left in the game and ended up with 39 points. And after that game, I posted, I don't care that we lost. I'm just sick and tired of the built-in excuses and lack of effort. Just own it. Y'all, we let that game get away, and there was plenty of blame to go around. I also added, my biggest concern for this series and future of this franchise now lies with Joel Embiid. I don't care how much natural ability he has. If he has a passive-aggressive, woe-is-me attitude, we are doomed. I can't deal with the drama. Is he playing? Is he not? Is it his knee, the flu, gastrointestinal issues, load management, fatigue? This is the playoffs. You got to suck it up. Own it, and with no excuses. While sitting on the bench, he's got to fire up the team and the fans. Instead, he's laughing at who passed gas, or he's distracted by Amir Johnson on his cell phone. It is a lack of discipline, a lack of focus. If I'm annoyed and frustrated, I can only imagine how his teammates feel. Not being able to count on the face of your franchise to just grind it out will most definitely affect the locker room, and I'm concerned. Y'all, I posted that back in 2019. Anyway, the next day I would share on social media, Jimmy, please lead and mentor this team. We need you. Philly fans respect grit, hard work, attitude, and drive. I just can't deal with Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid being soft and passive in a game that means so much to their teammates, the fans, and the city. I'm annoyed. Can you imagine as the coach getting a text from your star player 9 hours before a pivotal playoff game saying he might not be ready to go? What the fudge? I actually felt bad for Brett Brown having to deal with this man-child because it throws the whole team off. Your team can't count on you to grind it out and battle with them. You're the face of the franchise. I also added, I'm telling you, if Embiid doesn't play tomorrow, I'm done with him. Hashtag still annoyed. Y'all, then on May 7th, I would post, I just can't, in all caps. I'm so annoyed. And that was because Jamie Apodi from 6ABC had breaking news that Joel Embiid is listed as probable for tonight's Game 5 in Toronto with an upper respiratory infection. He did not attend shoot-around and is resting at the hotel. Y'all, I was feeling some kind of way. Now, don't get me wrong. If someone is sick, I get it. But I feel like when you know you have a moment and you may not get that moment again, sometimes you have to dig a little deep to push through it. And I just felt like Embiid didn't have the mental fortitude, the mental toughness to just fight through it for another game. So I was annoyed with Embiid. Then I read on 94 WIP that Jimmy Butler told Ben Simmons to attack every single time. And he was urging Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons to be more aggressive. I thought to myself, Jimmy should not have to carry this team every single game. I'm disgusted. I'd rather do laundry. I was upset because this team was soft. I would go on social media and post a bunch of damn pansies. And then in parentheses, I put, except for Jimmy. I'll take players with heart over talent any day. And y'all, years later, I still feel the same way. I haven't changed. Game 6 was back in Philly, and I was so upset with this team that I refused to go to the game. I posted my tickets for sale on social media because I didn't want to be at the game to be eliminated by the Raptors on our home court. Joel was pissing me off, and I wasn't happy with Brett Brown's coaching either. Now, I told y'all I was a faithful listener to Anthony Gargano and Jason Martinez on the midday show on 97.5 The Fanatic. They posed a question to get fan reaction on how we were feeling about the series. I called in and was on the air for quite some time, actually, telling them how upset and frustrated I was with this team, that I was done, that I planned on getting rid of my tickets for that game. I wasn't going to watch. I didn't care. But Anthony Gargano saw straight through that, and he kept telling me, Lauren, you can't give up. You got to go to the game. So Anthony and Andrew Salchunas, who was covering for Jason at that time, I remember, and tried to convince me to go to the game. In fact, they told me to go to Game 6 and report back to them the next day on the show. A lot of my family and friends heard the exchange over the radio waves, so they too reached out to me and told me not to give up and said, Lauren, you have to go to the game. I sat with it and I thought about it. I was frustrated with my guys, and I later posted on social media, all right, I got it all out of my system. Had a PTO day just to process everything. I actually forgot about that. Yeah. Y'all, I took a PTO day because the Sixers stressed me out that bad. But anyway, I put, at the end of the day, I still love these guys, even Ben and Joe. They just disappointed me yesterday. I am all in. I can't stay mad. We ride together. We fall together. Let's go Sixers. Hashtag Philly Unite. Hashtag Sixers in 7. I remember going to the game, and there was this Toronto Raptors fan obsessed with Danny Green. Yes, the same Danny Green that recently played with us on the Sixers at this particular time was a player on the Toronto Raptors. Well, anyway, the obsessed Raptors fan was sitting right behind me. And y'all, he had this stuffed Danny Green doll. Y'all, at first, I admit, it was kind of weird seeing a grown man holding a Danny Green doll. And I kept staring at him. But I could tell that he was a Raptors super fan. And y'all, as crazy as it may sound, I understood his weirdness because people have said to me some of the stuff that I do for the Sixers is weird. So I get it. And if y'all go through my Facebook, you can actually find the photo that I took with him holding his Danny Green doll with my friend Renee. Y'all, that was a great game because we won Game 6, 112-101, tying the 7-game series 3-3. The next morning, I followed up with Anthony and Andrew Salchunas, and of course, I thanked them for convincing me to go to the game because it was awesome. I shared my experiences with them, and like the rest of the Sixers fans, I was back on the Sixers train. I would go to social media and post, I love talking Sixers stuff with anyone, but I had the best time talking to Ant and Andrew this morning to kick off the second hour of Gargano and Martinez middays on the Fanatic 97.5 FM. These guys get me hype in the morning. OMG. Andrew, play our song. For the record, Andrew Salchunas and Anthony Gargano deserves credit for the term that everyone uses, play the song after every Sixers win. They also deserve credit for making the catchy 70s tune relevant again for the present day Sixers culture. Y'all, this was it. Game 7 was on Sunday, May 12th, 2019 in Toronto. I remember watching the game on my sofa in my little apartment, too nervous to eat or drink anything. The game was competitive and it was close the entire time. I was still feeling good about us winning, even on the road, because we had Embiid, our team was talented, and I felt like we deserved as a fan base to get out the second round and advance to the Eastern Conference Finals with this roster. After each quarter, I got more and more nervous. At the start of the fourth quarter, I posted, "This is it. Do or die. This fourth quarter will be everything." Y'all, I remember I would sit, then I would stand up, then I would sit back down, then I would stand up again. I would pace the room. I would sit back down because my nerves could not take it. The game was so close, I could not even breathe. Now the clock began to wind down, and it was about to get real. It was now the fourth quarter. The score was tied 90-90. There was only 4.2 seconds left in the game. Toronto had the ball, and I was praying, please God, play tight defense, but do not foul. I remember Gasol inbounding the ball to Kawhi Leonard, and he dribbled around the arc. Simmons was on him, and I felt good about that. But then Kawhi got a shot off in that far corner right before the buzzer, and after the ball left his hands, it was as if it was in slow motion. It hit the rim, it bounced around a few times, and it fell through the freaking bottom of the net. This playoff moment is now known throughout history as the Quadruple Doink. Y'all, I was sick. I wanted to vomit. I could feel the tears and devastating emotions filling my body. How? Why? For us to go out like this? My Sixers heart was literally ripped from my soul. I needed a moment, even if it was a few days. After I had time to get it all out, I would return to social media a few days later and post, "Oh, this still hurts. When does this horrible feeling go away?" I felt like somebody kicked me in the stomach, y'all. And as more time went by and I began to heal, I would later post, "We'll learn and grow from the pain. I'm proud of these guys. I love this team. Thank you, Sixers, for an amazing season." What was hard for me was I kept replaying in my head, at the end of the day, with a healthy Embiid, we win that series. If that ball falls out the rim and we go into overtime, who knows? And y'all, I think that's the part that's unsettling. It's the what ifs, right? The things that continue to gnaw at me as a Sixers fan are always the what ifs. And y'all, I obviously wasn't happy about the outcome, but man, I love this roster. And I kept thinking, let's run it back. Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, Jimmy Buckets, JJ Redick, and Tobias Harris. These are my guys. Bring them all back. Let's go. Thanks for tuning in, y'all. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And be sure to tune in for next week's episode 18 as we continue the story.